then for the Many Saints and Newark premiere, I brought Lisa because I don't forget shit, guys. So when I got here, it was COVID, and I really couldn't see her, even though she lives 25 minutes from me. She has parents that are old, and she was like, Coco, I'd love to see you and the baby and your daughter, but I can't because I got to go see my parents, and they're old. You know, everybody was scared about their parents. Now nobody gives a fuck. But, so we didn't really see each other a lot during the pandemic. And then she came to the premiere September 22nd. She came to my house here one night to dinner with her girlfriends, and I had a little get-together here, and she said she'd stop by. She went to El Nido, and then she came with her husband to El Nido, and she stopped by. She came up by the house, and I talked to both of them, but then I haven't seen her, you know, so it was weird because I was like, you know what, man, she's one of my friends that this just went away. You know, listen, we all grew up, everybody's busy with their own lives. And she called me for my birthday, and she goes, hey, man, I didn't forget it's your birthday. I'm going to be busy this weekend and next weekend, but can we do lunch on a Wednesday? And I was like, absolutely. At first, I was a little apprehensive. I didn't know if I had to do the fucking audio book or what the fuck I was doing. And we went and met. Guys, I got there at 12:15. I forgot I was there. And at 3 o'clock, she says, it's 3 o'clock. I had to fucking run out of there to meet Mercy. That's how involved we were in our conversation. It was like we had no time between us. Us sitting there, because we were sitting at the bar. We used to go to Hudson County Park, and we used to sit at the park bench, and we'd look out into the river, and we just talk without looking at each other. So a lot of times this week, when I was eating my meal, I was talking, and we were talking, and I wasn't looking at her, and I kept thinking about us being kids at Hudson County Park. I was like, wow, this takes me back. I mean, this is 1984, 3, when we used to walk around that fucking lake in the winter, the summer. We're going 40 back, 40 fucking years with this person. That's 40 fucking years. And you figure 5 years before that, going to clubs and eating Quaaludes and jumping up and down and fucking. But she knew my frame of mind for a long time. And I told her, I never lied to her. I told her what was in my head, what was in my heart. And she used to go, Joey, I'm just going to Coco. She doesn't call me Joey at all. She goes, Coco, I'm going to fucking pray for you. But this Wednesday, we just talked about life, family, what happened all those years, you know, what happened to our friends, what happened to our relationships with them. And I left there, I don't know, I can't even tell you what I felt when I got in the car. And I can't even tell you how I felt that night. But the next day I woke up and I had a missed call from her. And I called her back and I go, hey, man, did you fall asleep after lunch? Because I came home, I played with Mercy for a while. My wife got home and I told them all, I got to take a nap. I think I got all proteined up from the meal. I don't know what the fuck happened. I think just we were both so excited. We hadn't seen each other that after we left, she said she passed out. She couldn't keep her eyes open. And I came home and fell asleep for a fucking hour. That's how great it was just to see her. And I tell people all the time, man, listen, I really enjoyed talking to my therapist when I needed Dana from BetterHelp. I had a great time talking to her. I think the best therapy is just seeing somebody that knows you inside and out sometimes and just talking. We didn't discuss any of our problems. We just discussed what we had been through the last year, you know, what she was going through with her parents. Her dad's 85. He can't drive. I remember working for her dad, okay? Her dad was a fucking animal. When I used to bartend in the city, you know, I'm snorting coke so I could use every dollar I can. It didn't matter. I was making $600 a week and $300 in tips. That wasn't enough for my lifestyle. Fuck no. So I had to paint bathtubs. You never heard me telling those stories. Her father got put in a halfway house when he was younger for bookmaking. In New Jersey, you can't bookmake. It's a felony. Great fucking story. And while he was at the halfway house, they brought him to a small business convention. And he bought a franchise on bathtubs. Like people who come to your house, and instead of you buying a new tub, they resurface it and they paint it and they guarantee it. And you got a new fucking tub. And when I met him, he had been out of the halfway house like 15 years already, 20 years, but the business had grown. He had like 4 guys working for him. So one day I'm over there with him and he's like, you look like a big guy. You know, Lisa's boyfriend, you should come work with me. And I'm like, okay. So I would do it Monday nights and Saturdays and Sundays. Fucking great job, guys. He showed up with a truck. I pulled out paint and another fucking milk container and a compressor. I would go in the bathroom. I would wash the tub with fucking, women's gloves, those plastic gloves. I would wash the tubs, and then I would dry the tub, and then I would have to put some acid on it for 20 minutes, and then I would have to wash the tub off. I'd do all the prepping. I would wash the tub out, get all the acid off the tub, make sure all the old paint was off, and then I'd have to paint. When you paint anything, you gotta fucking tape it off and put paper. I would do that, and then I'd go get him a 12-pack of Budweiser in cans. I go get 2 6-packs of Bud in cans, the coldest ones, and I bring them back, and he had a cooler already with an ice block on the bottom. He's the guy who taught me how to drink Budweiser cold. I love Budweiser beer. I don't give a fuck about your HMO. I don't give a fuck about your IJE. You know those beers people drink? What are they? What are they called? IAB or whatever. IPA. I don't give a fuck. There ain't nothing better than a Budweiser. When it's cold in a can, there's no beer that's better than that. Or, second honorable mention, a fucking freezing Heineken. A freezing Heineken that gets put into an ice cold mug. Listen, go fuck yourself with your IJP or whatever the fuck you call it. Nothing better than this motherfucker would put 2 6-packs of Budweiser in a fucking cooler on a sheet of ice and then put a bunch of ice on top of it. He'd have like 3 or 4 left. So by the time I come back with the beer, we could start on that one. Yeah. And by the time we got to this one, and I shouldn't say we, unless he had a mouse in his pocket, because I only got to drink one of those motherfuckers. He would only give me one. I was only allowed to drink one. After I did that whole process, I would crack that fucking Budweiser, and he would drink the another 11 Budweisers in the time it got to paint it and seal it. And then once I did the fucking whatever, I was done. I would just take the tape off. He would fucking wash it with some water to seal it, and we would get the fuck out of there. So it was 3 hours total, maybe 2.5 hours, 3 hours if there were stairs, and he would pay me like $85. So I was making $250 a week just from her father. And if I got into a coke pinch, I could ask her father to give me an advance, and I would work it off. So one time we broke up, and I owed him money, and I'm like, I'm not paying him. We broke up. And she's like, you got to pay my dad. I don't care if you don't want to date me no more, but you got to pay my dad. So I had to fucking do the bathtubs while she was dating somebody else that sucked dick. But it was, she called me the next day and she's like, can we talk? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, bro, that was fucking phenomenal. She goes, I go on away with trips. I do this, I do that. I go to concerts. And that's the best 3 hours I've spent with somebody in a long fucking time. And we just talked about our lives and what had been going on. But like, I'm here to tell you, man, I love therapy. I love talking to people about shit when I have it going on. But there's always that one fucking friend that is better than therapy. She really is better than therapy. You could just call her up, tell her what's going on, and she'll just tell you what's happening with your life. And that's what happened this week. It took an outsider to look at me and go, this is what's going on with you. She goes, I see it right. I see you. You're right in front of me. She goes, I saw you before you went to prison. I know you when you were a kid. I saw you before you got into drugs. I saw you while you were on drugs. I saw you before you went to prison, before you were homeless, after you were homeless. And she goes, you're doing the best that I've ever seen you. She goes, you shouldn't worry about anything. I mean, she goes, you look healthy, which, thank you. You guys keep telling me I don't feel that fucking healthy. I got to pee every fucking 15 goddamn minutes, so I don't feel that fucking healthy. But it's just great. I think that when I said I wanted to come back here and reconnect with friends, I think it meant friend. I think it meant I really like her a lot. Since Wednesday, we've talked like maybe 3 times about different things in life. She's thinking of retiring. Her husband's retiring in April. I mean, it's just like we met each other at a different part of the fucking bridge. And it's just great to know that you've had friends for that long, that you've kept it together. I was starting to feel a little, I don't know, ever since I got back here. My friends all have their own lives now and stuff like that, and I had to put that all into perspective. It's not when we were kids and we were going to fucking 6 games and 3 nights a week. It's all changed. We all have families and we all have obligations. But I got to tell you something, man. It's important. And, when I got back here, I was going out to dinners with friends, like 3 or 4 buddies at a time. We would go out to dinner. And I was having a good time, but I wasn't really feeling fulfilled. Like it was just felt like I went out to dinner. This the other day felt like I think I have to do more one-on-one. Like it felt I got something out of it, and she got something out of it, and so did I. So if you have a good friend, maybe this week is a good week to fucking call them. Somebody you haven't spoken to in a while that knows you inside and out. Because we don't really think about these people a lot in our fucking busy worlds. Maybe they're going through something and you haven't called them in a while. Maybe it's time to call that person. I'm happy that just sometimes talking about what's going on in your world with somebody who knows you with no obligation. Sometimes you have like an aunt, they're related to you. I could talk to my wife. She's known me for 23 years. But this girl knows me when I was the happiest I was, when I had a mom. She knew me in my darkest times. She knew me in the struggle. And now she knows me now that I accomplished becoming a man. And with all of the doubts I had, and I didn't have many of them lately, but I think meeting with her and just talking with her for that 3 hours made a big difference. And all I want to tell you guys, the Monday motivation is that, those friends you haven't heard from in a while because of the pandemic fucked up shit for a lot of fucking people. And it fucked up shit for me in my communication with some people. Some people took it the wrong way or whatnot. Listen, if you haven't talked to somebody in a long time and you've been like a breath to this person, check up on them this week. In fact, I'm going to check up on a couple guys this week that it's time that we were friends since grammar school, and ever since I got back here, I've said we're going to get together, from Ray Cannella to Mr. Barone, my teacher. I'm going to bring him a copy of the book. So I think that doing that last week really put a wind in my sail. And maybe it'll help you out. Maybe you don't need a wind in your sail. I don't need dick, Joey. I just need to sling dick and smoke pot. Maybe you can have that too. It's March fucking 6th, cocksuckers. This is the Monday motivation. Have a great week. Stay black. And don't forget Amazon.com. You can pre-order fucking tremendous The Uncle Joey Story. That's it, and that's that.